Hi guys, how are you? I've restarted this video 4 times. I think what we're dealing with here is an identity crisis in between JoJo and the Bobos. You know what I'm saying? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam. I'm a pop culture commentary channel coming at you live, okay? We're talking about what's going on the internet today, and that is Miss Jojo Siwa. Jojo Siwa has decided to take over my brain cells, and I have decided to do like a deep dive, okay? I have been clinically obsessed lately with child stars and people who ABUSC children, okay? And why and how and why do we enable the behavior? Okay? After watching Quiet on Set, my brain basically exploded and was like, okay, so what are we doing? And why are we not holding these people accountable? And also, at what point are they going to stop gaslighting us into thinking that everything's fine? That their choices and their decisions and their friendships are totally fine? So I thought we could get together and do a little think tank, and we could try to fix Jojo Siwa's little persona, caricature, and try to make it better. You know, is Jojo Siwa gonna see this video? You know what? Probably flippin' not. But if she does see this video, hi Jojo, I'm Sam, and I can be paid to fix your life. I'm just saying, I'm not a professional, I have no experience. I have just been a millennial on the internet since the dawn of time, and I can see when someone is flopping and when they're just not getting the picture. Okay. So I thought what we would do is we would watch some TikToks that I found on the old internet, so Beyonce's internet, and I would take them and I would commentate on those TikToks, and then we would kind of add it all up together and go, boom, here's a Jojo Siwa that we want and that we need, okay? So here we go, first TikTok.
Yeah, the other reason why Jojo Siwa can't really be more specific than I was a bad girl, I did some bad things in her lyric is because the bad things she did aren't like your typical breaking innocence bad girl things. At least not the things people know about and will assume when hearing that lyric. They're going to think about how poorly she treated her previous partners and the fact that she, as a child star who was very mistreated on the set of Dance Moms, turned around and did the same thing to a bunch of other young dancers. They're going to think about the fact that she is still friends with known predators, and the fact that she is still clearly very close with Abby Lee Miller, who, as fun as it is to meme on, is a terrible person. Like, the vagueness is not benefiting her in any way, shape, or form in this scenario. She needed to use lyrics that would make her relatable. Don't keep your audience guessing. Just be honest. Just own up to things. Just be authentic. Just take accountability. That is how you get your audience to start respecting you again. But at this point, she has done so many things publicly that have made people lose respect for her that any amount of vagueness is going to seem like she's evading any amount of accountability for those things. Which, when contrasted with her very Shake It Up Chicago Descendants-ass sounding song, makes it sound like an email from your corporate boss.
So for me, I think the hardest, the thing that's bothering me the most lately about Jojo Siwa is that she keeps saying that she wants to have this rebrand, adult, older vibe, maturity, blah, 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 blah. But what comes with that is that you're going to have an adult audience who is now going to hold you accountable for your bad choices and your bad decisions, and are going to call out your friendships, are going to call out your ABUSCs that you are doing, your that type of behavior that you're doing. They're going to hold your feet to the fire. Whereas children audiences don't do that. They just see pink bows and sunshine and rainbows, and they kind of just go with what they see right in front of them. They don't do the due diligence to learn more and educate themselves more on what's going on. So they're not going to really deep dive into why are you friends with James Charles, and why are you friends with Colleen Ballinger, and why are you friends with Tom Sandoval? Why do you continue to be friends with toxic people who have elusive tendencies? You know what I'm saying? Why are you attracted to that type of person? And so my theory is that she's purposely not trying to fully engulf herself into this adult era because she can't handle the commentary that comes with that. And we'll talk more about that in a minute with a couple different TikToks, but the people she continues to surround herself with are just not people that adult audiences are going to be okay with. You know what I'm saying?
I wanted to start a new genre of music. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's called gay pop. Songs like
the reason people are giving you criticism is because you're acting like you're inventing something new when pop music has always been queer. Always. You're not inventing anything. This has always been what pop music has been influenced by.
So a big thing that I keep seeing on the internet that is a commentary that continues to keep being talked about is that it's extremely frustrating when you see people within your community, like a marginalized community, and they're not honoring that community that they've become a part of. And they're not acknowledging all the hard work, all of the conversations, all the due diligence that was done. So that way people like Jojo Siwa could come out, could have a huge platform, could still be queer and have all this fame and fortune and blah, 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 blah. And for whatever reason, in all the interviews I keep seeing, she keeps saying like, I haven't seen this type of era in so long. I haven't seen anybody do this kind of music. Like, I want to invent a new genre called gay pop or pop, like queer pop music.
so excited to bring this version of pop music back.
That's already existing. It's been existing. Like, did you not just see Renaissance? Like, that entire album was for queer people. Like, Ballroom was queer people. Like, queer gay pop has been around forever. Even the straights are doing queer pop. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think Troye Sivan has been doing? Hello? What do you think Billie Eilish has been doing? What do you think all these people have been doing? What do you think Renee Rapp's doing right now? Like, we're talking like current day stars. Like, she's friends that I know of with G-Flip. Why are you not acknowledging that they already do these things? You say you love Freddie Mercury, you say you love Elton John, you say you love Lady Gaga, and it's like, so you did not invent this. You did not come up with this concept. You did not invent a new genre. This genre has been here for a very long time. Now, whether or not mainstream media wants to acknowledge it in the way that it should be taken in, whatever. I mean, just something simple as like Katy Perry's I Kissed a Girl. What do you think that was? Like, what do you think that was? It just doesn't make any sense to me how she speaks like that. And when she does speak like that, it only pushes the narrative more further that she's juvenile, that she does not understand things, that she is still young. And she continues to keep saying she doesn't want to be that. She wants to be grown up. She wants to be adult. She keeps talking about wanting to have babies. It's like, girl, you're not even 21 yet. Let me tell you something right now. As someone who had a baby when I was 25 years old, you're not ready. You're not ready. When you are that young, you're just not ready. I don't care what you say. I don't care when you had kids. I don't care all the messages like, I had a baby when I was 21, blah, 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 blah. Your brain is not wired to take care of anybody other than yourself at that age. And you can barely do that. So everything that she keeps pushing, like, I want to be an adult, she keeps actually bringing it more forward that she's juvenile and she's a child and she doesn't understand the roots of the music that she came from, which is so funny and ironic because, like, you look at Beyonce, who is literally right now trying to get people to grasp where the origination of country music, bluegrass, blues, jazz, all was Black people. And that's where it all originated from. It's funny how that's being done right now. And JoJo's just like proving the point of like whitewashing and young people not acknowledging the existence of something that's been there and they're just taking credit for it. JoJo, you didn't invent anything. Pop has been queer for a very long time. Black people, white people, the whole community that ranges the whole rainbow has already been there. You did not invent gay pop. You didn't invent it. You didn't bring it to the forefront. You didn't create a genre. The genre has been there for decades. And it is a disservice to your community to try and sit there and say, I want to invent this when you didn't invent it. It's a middle finger to your community, and it's a dishonor to that community. And it's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating to see people do that. And I think a lot of people are catching on to that when it comes to JoJo.
So excited to bring this version of pop music back.
If I have to watch another video of Jojo Siwa pretending that her music, which sucks, is revolutionary, I think I'm gonna lose it. She said this music is new. She said it's called gay pop. What? She thinks that she is doing what Chappell Rowan is doing. She believes that this has not been done since Gaga and Miley Cyrus. She's just making shitty pop music and calling it revolutionary. And it's written by people who wrote Disney shit, which is why, by the way, it's stuck in her fucking brain. It's not good. It's not good at all. And it's certainly not revolutionary. She really believes that she's like pioneering this movement of pop music. It's just pop music, and it's bad pop music. Please. This is not the bangers era that she believes it is.
Jojo Siwa for several minutes to avoid working out? Yes. Is it also because, like everybody else in the WLW community, I've been saying the lines "karma's a bitch, I should have known better" in my head for the last several business days? Yes, it is. But now the full track has been released and the music video's out, and because I am a person whose synapses have never not had like 5 to 7 monologues firing off simultaneously, naturally I have thoughts. The first of which being anybody who said that this is a classic case of Arrested Development on full display was without question correct. But an extension of that, I think that this is also watching somebody put brand and bottom line above personhood on full display. Like, this barely a bad girl rebrand isn't a rebrand at all. It's the same thing. Sure, the neon might be gone, but it's just been replaced with the same thing in black and white. It's still very much Disney Cruise, very much Fantasy Island, but like Fantasy Island Junior. We're comfortable being paired with a woman in the sense of it being a partner, like a dance partner, like Dancing with the Stars. But is there going to be any actual depiction of human sexuality or human sensuality or desire? Of course not. Especially not WLW sexuality. If you bring up the gyrating, we're comfortable with that because it's in the context of choreography. But will she kiss her love interest, her female lead? No, of course not. And because of all of those factors, it's still very much packageable and presentable and marketable within the billion-dollar Jojo Siwa brand. And where the personhood comes in is, this is interesting because by her own omission, she says that she wants this to be her bangers era. But this isn't bangers. This is I Can't Be Tamed. For all of the reasons I just listed, but also because it's like literally written by the same fucking songwriters. Like in a hypothetical universe, big hypothetical by the way, where this was going to be her bangers moment, it would require vulnerability, maturity, and metaphorical, if not literal, stripped down nakedness. Instead, we basically got Kids Bop PG, aka I Can't Be Tamed, which still makes it brand safe. The t-shirt is still sellable because yes, we've replaced the unicorn with a skull, but it's still a bedazzled one. And what's also interesting about this is if you watch her social media, which yes, is still part of the brand, but it's one that she has more like easy access to, if not more of a say in, she swears. She wants to emulate people like G-Flip. She does things that are very much what a 21-year-old almost wants to do. But karma is decidedly not that of a 21-year-old. I don't know. I just think every celebrity should strongly consider adding a member to their team whose sole responsibility is to look at pitches, decks, concepts, ideas, projects, and just say, are you sure? Like when JoJo wanted to do something more adult, somebody should have looked at what was presented to her when it was this and said, are we sure about that? Really an invaluable member to any of our lives.
So the thing that I keep finding really fascinating about this whole situation as well is that like I keep going back to like the whole gaslighting thing. This creator said it like, you're still JoJo. You're just in black and white instead of like rainbow neon. The crystals are still there. The paint is still there. The hairs are still there. Like you're still doing the same thing. The amount of energy is there. The amount of inauthenticity is still there. That it's very much, it feels like it is marketed and packaged. It does not feel authentic. It does not feel real. And it does not feel adult. It feels juvenile still. And the whole inauthenticity thing continues to keep coming up. Like this TikToker keeps talking about. And I agree, it's not giving bangers, it's giving I Can't Be Tamed. It's giving I'm a little girl and I want to be a big girl and here's how I do it by over-sexualizing myself. Instead of just taking it back a little bit, just being a little bit more raw and real. That's the thing that's so frustrating is that young women in our society like to push the narrative that the way to look like an adult woman is to be over-sexualized. When really, what us as women, the actual audience that is actually consuming this stuff, We want to see you be real and raw. You think about someone like Taylor Swift, for example. Taylor Swift has made this entire persona about herself, and most of it is not around sexuality, which pisses off men. That's why so many men, that's one of the reasons why so many men do not like Taylor Swift. Because what Taylor Swift doesn't do is she doesn't over-sexualize herself. And she doesn't put herself in this box of like, I'm a pretty girl, I wear barely any clothes, I'm gonna show my boobies, I'm gonna show my butt. Now here's the thing, if you wanna do that, that is fine. But if you wanna do that and try to package it as I'm an adult woman, that's the issue, that is the problem. If you wanna be a grown-ass woman, behave like a grown-ass woman. And right now, we're not seeing that. We're seeing this little girl wanting to be a big girl. And so here's how I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to try to dress a little bit differently. I'm going to talk a little bit differently. I'm going to say bitch, and I'm a big girl now. And that's just not reality. That's not how that works. Comparing herself also to Miley Cyrus is extremely frustrating, because the difference between what JoJo is giving us and then what had happened with Bangers is that with Bangers, you have things like Wrecking Ball, where we got to see a piece of Miley's soul. Okay, Miley's heart was right out here for us to touch and to see and to witness. Whereas JoJo is not showing us that at all. The song Karma itself is so generic and so anybody could put their own narrative into it. Anybody can say what they want about it. You look at the music video doesn't make any sense. It doesn't speak to the song that you're speaking about. Why are we on an island? Why did we fall off a boat? Why are we in the ocean? Why are we dressed up the way that we are? Like, you're upset about karma. It's like, well, then let's like really get into that. Another thing that I find really interesting in like the whole marketing sense is I find it so funny that her first song is Karma, when Taylor Swift's last album, God, she comes out with so many goddamn albums. Last brand new album had the song Karma on it. And it's so funny that when we talk about things like algorithms and hashtags and all this shit, now anytime karma comes up, it's going to be also within that whole algorithm of Taylor Swift, which is really smart on JoJo's team's part. But the difference between what Taylor sings about and what JoJo sings about is that there is a little bit more depth to what Taylor is singing about. Not specifically maybe in that song Karma, but and overall, we get to see little glimpses and pieces of her soul and her heart in the big, fun, flashy songs, and also in the little songs, the darker songs, the deeper songs, the slower songs. And we're not getting that with JoJo. And we'll talk more about it on like what I hope happens with JoJo. And that's a part of it. We need to see depth. We need to see rawness. That is what your female audience, and I'm going to assume the queer audience, craves, is authenticity. Whereas the male audience, I don't know if they necessarily, because I'm not a man, so I wouldn't know, but I don't think that's what they're necessarily like marketed for and look for. So you say you want to market towards adults, and adults have feelings, they've had experiences, there's depth to their life. Whereas with children, there doesn't need to be depth. It's just like very surface level, very much like, everybody, everything. I love boys, I love girls, blah, blah, blah. And so that's where the adult audience is pissed off and angry, because what you are saying makes no sense.
Apparently, Jojo Siwa is claiming that the reason her dancing to Karma has been so terrible is because she's using our hate comments to promote her new video. She went on a podcast and said if you watch Karma, you'll see that her dancing is better in it. I watched Karma. The dancing looks the same as it is on TikTok, in my opinion. The bad dancing was not pre-planned. The only pre-planned part of all of this is what it's distracting you guys from. Jojo purposely started this shift to her platform right in the middle of that controversy. That was what was planned by her team. The moment Jojo started dropping this new song and how she's gonna have her Miley Cyrus Bangers era, everyone quit talking about XOMG Pop. Everyone quit talking about Leia and how she literally was bleeding through her stomach and JoJo's mom Jesslyn just told her to put a maxi pad over it and get back on stage. How these little girls weren't paid half of what was owed to them according to the contracts that we saw with our eyes. JoJo pay XOMG Pop. Her team was scrambling to find a way to save her image, and they thought the best thing for her to do would be to branch into adulthood, to shift her platform from that of a young audience to a more mature audience. I don't know what adult is going to be interested in music that looks like it came right off of Descendants 1, 2, and 3, or what little kids that are into JoJo and the Bobo would be interested in the Shark Boy and Lava Girl Walmart version that she put on YouTube this morning. Which means her videos are kind of falling to this middle ground of Gen Z that are commenting on this, just making fun of her dancing. That might be what was pre-planned. I think they knew that the song might flop and it might not find its audience, but even if it did, it would distract the masses from the real problem at hand, the fact that JoJo is a mini Abby Lee Miller. JoJo's never been a good dancer. She's never been a glorious technician. But you know what JoJo and her mom have always been good at? Creating a persona. It will do anything to keep that persona, even if it means letting the world think that JoJo can't dance. Because why does that matter? She's going into singing now, right? What do you guys?
Now, what I want to say about this video is a couple different things. So like, I have been following, I'm not anymore obviously, but I had been following Colleen and her sister Rachel. And if you guys know anything about the two of them, Rachel is basically one of Jojo Siwa's like best friends. So over a year ago, I believe Rachel had one of her podcast episodes. She had Jojo on, and Jojo had played her new album for Rachel. And so I disagree with that, this is almost like a purposeful distraction from all the controversy going around her and her group XOMG Pop. What I think is kind of what happened was, this is when we were gonna release it, but now we have to release it at this time because we have to get rid of this narrative. That's what I think is what happened. Because if you look at like her release, when she was like releasing it, she took like forever. And it was very much, it's coming. It's coming. It's almost here. It's coming. And it's like, then just drop it. Like, just drop it already. Like, what are we doing? Like, again, you're not Taylor Swift. You're not Beyonce. Like, drop the beat, girl. Like, it's fine. We don't need to sit here and wait for 75 days to get this song that is probably going to be a flop anyway. So just like, get it out there and do what you got to do. And I feel like what ended up happening was, she has been talking about this music for a while now. Again, at least over a year, she has been talking about this. And I only know that because I used to follow Rachel and she talked about it on Rachel's podcast. So it's like, okay, so you know you've wanted to do that. So when was it actually going to be released? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like she was kind of just waiting. And if you look at like the history of JoJo and all of her controversies, right after a controversy, and I'll link the video that I watched on YouTube down below, and I'll so that way you guys can watch it. It looks like anytime JoJo peaks with like a disaster, an issue, a problem, a concern, a non-PR friendly moment, she will come in and do something to balance that out, so that way it goes back into her favor and she looks like the happiest, nicest, wonderful girl in the whole world. And I think that's what happened. It's kind of like, we'll release the album when it's like PR appropriate. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like the whole album is a PR stunt versus like JoJo wants to grow up. It was almost like, let's put it in a vault. Let's have everything ready to go and ready to be packaged. And then when JoJo messes up or something doesn't go right, because JoJo insists on being friends with bad people, so it's going to happen, let's release it out into the world then, and then we can be like, oh, JoJo's ready to be an adult, blah, 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 blah. Maybe that's it. I don't know. The other thing that this creator talks about is that JoJo's dancing. And I actually really disagree with this. I actually think JoJo is a great dancer. I think JoJo is a very good dancer. I think the style of dance, if you watch So You Think You Can Dance, which I don't watch regularly, but I've watched it enough, she gives me very much a lyrical, her own style and her own vibe. And a lot of professional dancers dance like that, where they have their own interpretation. They move with a lot of passion. And it's the type of dancing that honestly makes me feel awkward and gives me like the ick. But at the same time though, I do acknowledge the beauty in it and the authentic, genuine like flow and behavior and feelings that are behind when you see dancers dancing with that much passion. And that's what I see when I watch JoJo, is I don't see someone that doesn't know how to dance or can't dance. I actually see somebody who is so honed in to who they are as a dancer and loves what they're doing, that their passion is like flowing out of them. You know what I'm saying? So I actually don't agree with JoJo as being a bad dancer. I actually think JoJo's a very, very good dancer, very well done dancer. And if you watch a lot of her dancing stuff throughout time, and you watch things that are much very choreographed versus like more free flow, I actually don't think, I watched the music video, I think the dancing looks better in the music video. I don't think it looks bad at all in the music video. I think it looks great. I just don't like the concept of the video because it doesn't make sense to the song and it doesn't work with the song. There's just such a better way to interpret your songs and to give a visual extension of your music. And what JoJo's doing, the puzzle pieces aren't puzzling. You know what I'm saying? They're not sticking in there. I also agree that the OMG pop stuff, like all of a sudden now gets pushed to the side, and people really need to pay attention to that because she is perpetuating what has happened to her. Whether she wants to accept it or not, we saw, like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's not alleged, like it's right there. Like we saw it. Abby Lee Miller was at minimum verbally abusive to JoJo. We literally witnessed it, okay? And was a part of a group of people, a group of children who were on some level abused in some way. Again, the only one that I know for a fact, because I could see it with my own eyes, if you have a brain cell, verbally abusive, okay? And then what's the allegedly part that is happening now is that JoJo allegedly is perpetuating that behavior with children as well as an adult now. And that is a issue, that is a problem that we need to pay attention to because we want to stop the cycle of abuse head on, early on, and as early as humanly possible, so that way we don't keep having it happen over and over and over again. We don't want that. And so this whole situation, and I'm adding to it as well of like acknowledging more of the song than more of this, you know, it's working. That narrative is being pushed forward. Let's talk about how bad karma is. Let's talk about this. But what we really should be talking about a lot more is, again, and I keep saying this and I keep bringing it up on social media until somebody will listen to me, is that Jojo Siwa has friends that are not safe with children. And she allegedly is a part of that issue as well. And we have to stop allowing people to gaslight us into thinking that that is okay and that behavior is okay and that support for those people are okay. We need to have accountability, and then we need to have anything legal beyond that happen as well if that is needed, if that is suitable, if that is what is happening. But in this situation, the audience needs to hold these people accountable. There is a reason why these three people, James Charles, Colleen Ballinger, and Jojo Siwa, pander to children. It is because they can manipulate them easier, which is why I continue to say over and over again, I don't think JoJo actually wants to pander to adults, because if she did, she would have to actually sit and acknowledge her bad behavior. And honestly, I want to say this too, shame on the media. Shame on the media for sitting there and continuing to ask her stupid questions on red carpets and not at all bring up anything that is going on with her. Shame on you to sit there and talk to her on a red carpet and have her say out loud that she's inventing queer pop, gay pop. You should go, are you sure about that, JoJo? Because how are you, do you mean inventing, or you mean like continuing the traditions and the love of queer pop? Like, why are we not, we're just letting her say whatever the hell she wants with zero accountability. And it's like, is somebody out there in mainstream media, like the big dogs, is somebody out there in mainstream media actually going to take the reins and not allow these creators, these influencers, these celebrities to manipulate a narrative that we all know doesn't exist? We all know that she did not create queer pop. We all know that she is friends with bad people. We all know that there's an allegation out there about her having bad behaviors with children. Why are we just sitting there and letting her say whatever she wants when we should be holding her accountable? You don't have to say that she did it. We don't have to have on the red carpet and be like, I know what you did. I know what you did, JoJo. I know what you did. But you can be like, hey, can you acknowledge these things? Like, can you talk to us about your relationship with James Charles and Colleen Ballinger? What's that like? Why Why do you continue to have a relationship with him? Are we not going to acknowledge any of that? It's a disservice to all of us, and it continues to add to the gaslighting and manipulation that the media does, along with the celebrities and people. It's annoying. It's frustrating. I cannot stand it. Okay, so to wrap this all up, I'm going to show you 2 pictures that depict the JoJo that I want to see as an adult woman. Okay, if we're going to pander to adults, okay, here is what I want to see. I want to see this JoJo. I want to see a raw and real, stripped down Jojo Siwa. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see glitz and glam and glitter and Shazam and Shazazz. I'm an adult woman. Adult women and adult humans don't do that. They don't want to see that. That's not how they want to consume things. Not even Lady Gaga, Katy Perry. They don't even behave that way anymore. They don't even do that. They have, when they do have those moments of out there craziness, cuckoo, whatever you want to call it, it's an elevated level. You know what I'm saying? They take the fun, the queerness, the colorfulness, and they take it and they elevate it to an adult level, not a childish children's costume like one of the creators said that we watch Disney, Disney on Ice level, Descendants 5. We need to elevate ourselves. And I wish she would just be herself. I feel like what we're seeing right now with JoJo is truly an identity crisis. I feel like what we're seeing is someone who doesn't know who they are, which is totally fine because she's only going to be 21 years old. At 21, I didn't know shit about myself. I am just now truly understanding who I am, which is why I continue to say I don't think she should be having children anytime soon, because she does not even know herself and doesn't even understand and can't really stand in the weight of who she really is. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why she will not present herself in a raw way, because then people would not be tearing down her persona and her character that she puts out. They would actually be tearing down her as a human being. And that is really hard to take and really hard to listen to and be a part of. And I just wish that the actual full-blown adults around her gave a shit about her and didn't see her as a dollar sign and actually wanted to find the real JoJo and present her. What I think she should do is, I think if she wants to reinvent herself, she needs to do it the way that Renee Rapp has done. When Renee Rapp started out, it was Mean Girls on Broadway, and she was this blonde girl, and it was pink, and it was cute, and it was slicked hair, and so adorable and so wonderful. Even on her show on HBO, The Sex Lives of College Girls, that is not Renee. Like, the real Renee is who we're seeing now. It is this woman who has the short blonde haircuts with the bangs, is wearing the baggy clothes, is like confident in herself, doesn't need to show titties and boobs and ass and all this crazy stuff, is just being herself, singing about what she wants to sing about, is a lesbian and is a proud lesbian, and in her music sings about women that she loves and has loved and wants to love, and like all of that encapsulates all of that. And you see the raw realness. I mean, she has a song where she talks about getting essayed. She talks about deep, dark things that have happened to her. And you feel the raw and realness. You look at people like Billie Eilish, for example, is another great example of how she took her fun, childish look and craziness and she kind of elevated it so that it's still Billie. It's still out there. It's still silly. It's still alternative. It still has like its moments, but it's an elevated version of that. And now Billie has these wonderful, beautiful songs like, her newest song for the Barbie movie. That is such a raw, deep song that anybody can relate to, but it also feels like it's her. It feels so personal. You can feel it in Billie's guts that it's about her too. And that is what we're missing with JoJo. And that's what I wish we could get with JoJo, is I just wish that we could get the real JoJo. I would even consider her dropping the name JoJo and changing her name. Isn't her name, like, what is her full name? Her real name is Joelle Joni Siwa. I would literally, if I was her, I would consider changing her name to Joelle or changing it to Joni and taking out the JoJo persona and really getting raw and real. No glitzy glamour craziness. Like, let's sit in it. And I hope that maybe in her next music video or her next song that she strips it down a little bit more. And I think the other thing is that I think a lot of people are concerned that she can't really sing either. And all this music that she's showing us is very much music that you're like, can she actually sing that? Like, without a backtrack, without, you know, synthesizers and all this crazy shit. Like, can JoJo actually sing a song? If she can't, if she's not the best singer ever, can she at least give us a good, authentic, raw performance? I don't know. But I think what JoJo needs to consider is stripping a lot of it back, being way more authentic, take away all the glitter, take away all the rhinestones. And if you're going to have that in your repertoire, you need to have an elevated thing about it. Honestly, she should really reach out to La Roche, because La Roche knows how to make a girl glammy, fun, sophisticated, cute, silly, crazy. But like, look at Zendaya. He has made Zendaya go from a Disney star to a woman. But again, not over-sexualized, just beautiful, smart, sophisticated, like just a wonderful person. Like, I still feel like I know Zendaya and like she's an easy, accessible human. She's funny, she's silly, she's kind of goofy and quirky, but she's an adult. Like, find that. JoJo, reach out to La Roche. I feel like that would maybe help you out a lot. I feel like La Roche could like elevate you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get back to who JoJo really is, or let's try to find it together. Let's try, like, have that be a part of your narrative, JoJo, of like, I'm still trying to find myself. Like, I don't know who I am. And I feel like at 21 years old, nobody knows who they are. And I want to go on this journey now together. Like, my fans have grown up with me, so they're 21 too. Like, they're in their 20s too. Taylor Swift did that. Taylor Swift grew up with us. Her songs grew up with her, and you can see it in chronological order. The way she speaks about herself, the way she talks about the world around her, the way she sings about her relationships. You can see the growth going up. Go from that. Talk about that. Stop this crazy cuckoo-ness. It's not working. It's not relatable, and no adult wants to consume it. It's very off-putting. It's beyond the cringe. It's just inauthentic, and there's no feeling behind it anymore. So that's my recommendation for Miss Jojo Siwa. Again, she's never going to see this video. She's not going to take my advice, because her and her yes men are going to do whatever the hell they think they want. And the people around her are going to continue to manipulate her to make those dollar signs, okay? I just hope that maybe one day JoJo takes it all back and starts over and really decides how she, herself, JoJo, not everybody else around her, not everybody else is trying to make a dollar off of her, she can truly feel who she really is. Also, she needs to get the JoJo bows and the dolls from behind her out of the pictures. Stop with the Barbie doll collection behind you. Also, not adult, not elevated. Again, if that's what you're saying you want to be, here are the reasons why we're not seeing that. If that is who you want to be, then just be that. Just be who you want to be. And right now, we're not getting that, okay? Comment down below what you want to see from Jojo Siwa. Please keep it polite and please keep it cordial. We don't need to be nasty and horrible to her, because she's just a baby. She's 21. She's just learning and she's growing. And I just hope that she understands what she shows and what she says. They need to start connecting. And once they start connecting, that's when we'll feel the authenticity within her. And that's when the audience will want to grip onto her and want to follow her in everything that she does. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I hope that all makes sense. I hope I didn't sound like an asshole. You know what I'm saying? But I love you guys. Go check out my podcast, my Big Sister's podcast, where I give advice to people as if I'm your big sister on the internet. It's really fun. It's really cool. Spotify, Apple, all that fun stuff. Follow me on all social medias. Don't forget to subscribe, click the bell, share this video, share all my content, go check out all my other videos. And I love you so much, and I hope you have a great day. Bye, guys.